Today we're joined with a notorious armed robbery. He's done lots of prison time, Mr. Lewis Clark.
My dad's an old school armed robber. I was banged up with him for a year.
Wow.
He was my cellmate.
That must have been mad.
He kind of taught me how to do my bird, keep your nut down, get these years done, man. And motorbikes turned up, pap, 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 pap. My brother got shot 5 times, Terry in front of me. But we used to have a lot of trouble with the Stockwell and Brixton lot. Gang violence. All my pals loved my dad. Everyone looked up to my dad on the estate. Was I always going to go down that path and follow in my dad's footsteps? My friends used to do armed robberies and sell drugs anyway, so I can't really blame my dad. The last one I'd done, Terry, it was 45 grand. But on this occasion, the die went off. Standing outside a bar on Wandsworth Road and the bouncer got shot in his head. We went on a fishing trip in Jamaica. We're out in the middle of the ocean. Out of nowhere, there's a massive truck inner tube that's floating in the middle of the ocean, full up with drugs.
Don't get high on your own supply.
When he said, Lewis Clark, please stand, I sentenced you to 16 years. I stood up and said, who, me? And I've looked behind me like they made a mistake.
If you're doing something and you do something to somebody, it comes out.
Yeah, of course it comes out, but people can keep their mouth shut as well.
Welcome back to the Criminal Connection podcast, and this episode is proudly brought to you by Betovo. Before we get stuck into this week's episode, we're going to give a big shout out to our sponsors. Big thanks to our sponsor IME. This global tech outfit ain't messing about. They've got these slick video interviews that have you connecting like there's no tomorrow. Whether you're running a business, running the streets, or doing your own thing. Perfect for those in marketing, recruitment, admissions, and even for auditions. And their platform, smooth as silk, designed with you lot in mind. IME's the ticket to making those connections count. VIP security services have been established for 35 years. VIP Security offers a personal security service to escort you, your family, and your friends, whether on business or out for the evening. Protect what's important to you. We're watching you while others are watching us. Prevention is always better than the cure. You're in safe hands. Security solutions across Essex, London, and the home counties. I want to say a huge thanks to our sponsors, Fragrance du Bois. Now, for those of you that don't know about Fragrance du Bois, where have you been? It is one of the leading luxury fragrances, only available in Harrods, Selfridges, and Neiman Marcus in New York. But they've got so many different fragrances for men, for women. All of the fragrances are unisex, so make sure you get involved and sample the delights of Fragrance du Bois. For all the Criminal Connection podcast crew, we've got a special discount for you. 10% off. All you need to do when you click on the link below and choose your luxury fragrance is to put in CCPOD10 for the 10% discount. So if you'd like to find out about any of our fabulous sponsors, make sure you check out the links in the description below.
Welcome back to the Criminal Connection podcast. My name's Terry Stone, aka the Podfather. Today we're joined with a notorious armed robbery. He's done lots of prison time. He was recently on banged up. Please put your hands together for Mr. Lewis Clark.
Hey, what's happening?
How you doing, mate?
What's happening? All good, mate.
See ya?
Hey, listen, I've got the Raven Ump on the way here. My sat nav on my phone is sending me around in roundabouts. I had to do 100-meter sprint to get here on time, mate. I hate being late for anything.
I've got to say, when I saw you, you hadn't even broken a sweat. You must keep yourself in shape.
I do. I love doing my burpees and that.
Right.
I've got a little prison routine.
You're the only person I know who likes doing burpees. Everybody else fucking hates burpees.
That's what it is. It's a bit of punishment for me, and it, yeah, I like putting myself through punishment, and it reminds me, don't go back to prison, mate. Because I used to every morning in jail, without foul, every morning 100 burpees straight off. That's like my everyday discipline.
I mean, you got to be fucking fit. I mean, I can probably do 20 and I'm fucked. So to do 100, mate.
I used to be able to smash 100 in one sitting. Wow. In one go, but I'm not really that fit now. My shoulder's a bit dodgy, but I do bits and pieces just to maintain.
Right, brilliant. So let's talk about you, Lewis. You know, whereabouts did you grow up? Was you born in London?
Yeah, I'm from South London, Battersea, South London.
That's where all the best people are, from South London.
100%, mate. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Battersea, South London. I've been around, I'm 37 years old now, so I've been around there for a long time. Battersea's
funny, isn't it? Because a friend of mine, I back in the day, I used to do a rave there in Adrenaline Village. I don't know if you remember.
Chelsea Bridge.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side.
Down the bottom there.
That's all gone, mate. That's all brand new apartments.
I went to Battersea Power Station recently to meet a friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I don't fucking remember Battersea being like this.
It's absolutely mental. So I got put away in 2013 And when I got put away, none of that was there. Battersea Power Station was just derelict.
Wow.
So when I come out at the end of 2021, because I live on that little estate opposite in the little council houses,
Right.
I've come out, I've looked over and it's brought tears to my eyes. I'm like, what the hell? Like, it was a lot for me to take in, even though they've done a great job with it.
Right.
But it's just so much for me to take in. I'm thinking, I'm from this shit estate over here. And look, they've got brand new apartments over here. But yeah, no, it's a massive change for me coming out.
Yeah. But when you grew up in Battersea, what was it like growing up there? Did you grow up sort of like with your mum and dad, or was you?
Yeah, so I've grown up with mum, dad, got 2 brothers. My dad's an old school arm robber. Absolutely loves it. He's been in and out of prison his whole life.
Right.
And my older brother was into selling drugs. I was into selling drugs as well, to be honest. Right. But I kind of wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps. I quite enjoyed the fact of like setting things up and like putting cars in places, ready to do a changeover to get into another car and do a bit of graft, you know?
Right.
So I kind of went down that path. I left all the drugs dealing to my brother and I cracked on with that.
So your brother was obviously mainly into the drugs, but did you know, like growing up, that's what your dad did?
Not really, because he wouldn't come home and say, I've just done a bit of work on nothing. Like, keep it all quiet.
We're at the McDonald's, guys.
Yeah, do you know where? He'd come home and then he'd probably take us shopping or something. And then next week he'll probably be back in jail for another 10 years or 5 years,
Wow.
whatever it was. But to me, it felt normal because it'd go away and I'd never ever go without. Birthdays will come, I'll have presents. Christmas will come, I'll have presents. Lou, do you need money? My dad will still be sending money from when he's away. So even though I missed him loads,
Yeah.
I never went without. The only thing I went without is having my dad there for a bit of support, which mine and my dad's connection right now is a whole lot stronger. Like years ago, my dad wouldn't turn around and say, I love you, Lou. Whereas now, my dad would get off the phone and what he'd do would be like, love you, Lou. And he'd quickly put the phone down because he's a little bit embarrassed about it. But it's just so nice to hear him say it. And I quickly try and say it back to him before he puts the phone down. Yeah, or I'll send him a text after or something.
Right. Is he out now? Is he?
He just got his parole. He just got his parole. He's done 11 years out of that. He got an 8-year life tariff and he's done 11 years out of it.
Right.
Just got parole. He's out in January.
Yeah.
But see, my dad, he never fucking moans. Like, I was banged up with him for a year.
Wow.
He was my cellmate.
That must have been mad.
He used to drive
Morning,
me.
Dad.
Terry used to drive. My dad's called Terry as well.
Right.
He used to drive me absolutely mental. But the good thing about it is he got me into routine. He'd wake up at like 6 in the morning, and I'm fast asleep. And what my dad would do, he'd put the kettle on, make a cup of tea. But he had a metal spoon. You're not allowed metal spoons and that. But he will smash it around his cup. Ding, 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 ding. Lou, do you want a cup of tea, mate? I'm like, all right, I'm awake now, Dad. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks
So
for
it
that.
made me a cuppa, but it got me into a good little routine. And he kind of taught me how to do my bird. Just, Lou, keep your nut down. Don't get involved in people's business. Just get these years done, man.
Right.
Obviously, my dad ended up being my Cody on the last sentence.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
So let's talk about the beginning then, right? So your dad's away.
There's so much, Terry, there's so much to get into. Like, sometimes I just think my life's just a dream. And I do watch people's podcasts sometimes. I'm thinking, you lot are saying way too much about who you lot robbed and what you've done. I'll just talk about what I've been nicked from, what people already know, what's in the papers or on Google and stuff. But I look back and think, this is a dream. You know, like with the amount of shootings, what we used to be involved in. Like, my brother got shot 5 times, Terry, in front of me.
What was that? What was that over? Was that over drugs thing?
That wasn't even over drugs. That was over gang violence. I don't like to say it because I cringe when I say I was involved in gangs. I cringe a little bit about it. But we was walking along Wandsworth Road. Don't know if you know it. Walking along Wandsworth Road, but we used to have a lot of trouble with the Stockwell and Brixton lot.
Right.
And this is a summer's night, and my brother's walking in his flip-flops. All of us are just walking. A motorbike's turned up. Pap, 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 pap. Started letting off all these shots. My brother's been hit in his leg, upper leg, bum, back. My other pal's been hitting his shoulder. Little finger's been blown off. But we've all started running, and I've managed to hide behind a little metal bin at the bottom of this hill. And the bike's actually stopped. But when I've looked up, my brother's flat out on the floor. So I think, oh, he's dead. And I don't even think nothing about it. I was already on the phone and said, ambulance, please, my brother's dead. Can you come pick him up? And it's not until they got off the bike, they shot him again. And I heard, I was like, oh shit, he's alive. When they got back in the bike to ride off, I run up there, started stripping all his clothes off him, laid on top of him, cover up all his holes into the ambulance, got there. And
I mean, that must have been fucking traumatic to actually see that. I mean,
yeah, like, I get flashbacks. I get flashbacks, and when I started covering up all these holes, and it's like, Lou, he had some money in his pocket. He had a couple quid in his pocket. He's like, Lou, take my money out my pocket, because you know the ambulance or the police just take it off you anyway. That's when I realized he's awful, right? And once the police arrived and the ambulance took it, I didn't talk to the police. I just fucked off. Right. Do you know what I mean? It's how we live. We used to do similar things to over that side. Not saying allegedly anyway. I was not involved with any shootings or stabbings, but all of this was going on. And
did the guy do it? Did he get nicked, or did he?
I don't
Or did
know.
anything happen to him? Did the streets take justice?
I don't know who done it.
Right.
I don't know what colour the motorbike was. I don't know what colour the person was that done it.
Right.
I have no idea.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
If you're doing something and you do something to somebody, and then it comes out.
Yeah, of course it comes out. But people can keep their mouth shut as well.
Yeah. But I didn't know whether anything had happened to him.
Nah, I don't know.
Right,
I've no idea. But that occasion happened, and it's probably about a year later, my pals ended up getting nicked. Someone's been shot 8 times in the chest and the face, and he's ended up getting a 33-year sentence, a wreck.
Wow.
He got a wreck. And not that I was heavily involved in gangs. I was about all of my friends, and they was about that life. Whereas I enjoyed selling a bit of drugs and doing some robberies. But they was my mates. So if there was trouble and I was there, I'm gonna get involved.
Right.
I would never say I was a fully fledged gang member, but there's all happened to be my mates.
Well, I think the problem is as well, and a lot of people that are listening or watching to this podcast probably won't understand it, but some of them will. But I think if you're in that environment, and you know your dad's up to crime, your brother's up to crime, your mate's up to crime, you're going to probably end up fucking going down that road. You know?
100%. This is what I was talking to my pals about the other day. All my pals loved my dad. Everyone looked up to my dad on the estate. Was I always going to go down that path and follow my dad's footsteps to be an armed robber? Or was my friends used to do armed robberies and sell drugs anyway, so was I going to go down that road anyway? So I can't really blame my dad. And the time I started doing robberies, and I was old enough to know what's what, my dad used to try and tell me, Lou, go and get a trade. The amount of times my dad got me a day's work with one of his pals scaffolding or plumbing or watching his pals do the electrician, I didn't want to know, Terry. Right. I really wasn't me. I enjoyed selling drugs, and that was that, man.
Was you never worried about fucking doing any bird then, or did you just think, I'm going to do it, and if I get nicked, I get nicked, but Terry, hopefully I won't?
Yeah, you think about it, but it doesn't really cross your mind. Like, I've done pretty well as a young kid selling drugs. I'm not talking major drugs, £10 and £20 draws on my push bike, driving around the estate.
Pay for the sweets from the sweet shop.
Yeah. I used to do pretty well on the estate, you know, and I don't know, I just wanted to do something bigger. Like, I had a good upbringing. My mum and dad tried their best with me, but I think I was always going to go down that path.
Did your mum get involved as well or not? Or was she just...
Oh, my mum, she. Do you know what? Bless my mum. I had to apologise to her when I got out. Right. Because not a lot of people know. I've said it a couple of times, but she ended up in a mental home.
Really?
Like, she's like a schizophrenic, and I blame a lot of that on myself. The amount of stuff I'm getting involved in, or my mum's hearing about, I'm stressing her life out. The amount of times the house I got raided as well, looking for drugs or firearms, either because of me or my dad. We got to take accountability for that, me and my dad and my brother. Because we put her through a lot. Every time we went to prison, she used to look up to us to provide. So we used to get put away for years at a time. And that, like, my older brother got 7.5, dad got 10.5 at one point. It's not until the last one, they had to give him a life sentence because it's his 3rd firearm strike.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But my dad tried his best to push me away from it. It just weren't happening.
What would you say over the period of time you were doing it was the biggest amount of money you got from one job?
I can only really talk for the one I've been nicked for. Can't remember nothing else, to be honest.
You got amnesia.
oh shit, my medication's kicked in. So yeah, the last one I'd done, Terry, it was 45 grand.
Right.
They was doing cash deliveries to a cash machine when they fill them back up.
What are they, secure?
Yeah. You either get a G4 or the Loomis, or you get some other plain white one. Because
my understanding was, like, a lot of people went off of this because of the
dire packs.
Because there was the CCTV, the monitoring on the thing, and then apparently when you open it, it sprays it. Is it with a dye or something?
Yeah. So they've got like a little rumble pack. You know, like if you grab it off the gun and start shaking it, I think it sets it automatically for the ink to come off. You've got roughly about 5 or 6 minutes to get them open. Or you could just wait for them to go into the shop and open it. And when it's open, then you can take the parcel and go. So you got clean money.
So that would be when they're actually in the shop getting it.
Yeah.
So that's when you hit them in the shop.
Yeah, you can either hit them in the shop and wait for them to open it, and then you know you're gonna have fresh £20 notes or £10 notes, so you don't have to worry about the die going off.
Right.
But on this occasion, the die went off. I got 45 grand. A lot of it was messed up. I got a confiscation order for it as well, and majority of the money was inked up.
Right.
So it was unusable, and even the judge said the money would have been unusable. But yeah, I got a £45,000 confiscation order to split with my Cody. And while I was in prison, I paid back £22,000.
Right.
But while I was away, it gained interest. I still owed them £15,000.
Wow.
Even though I paid back my half of the money, it gained 15 grand interest, which I know it sounds bad. I paid £20 a month at the minute, but it gains £1 interest a day.
Wow.
So I'm not even making interest at the moment. So they killed me when I went away. They knew what they was doing. They set me up to file for when I come out of prison. They thought, you know what? The next time he gets nicked with a firearm, we can give him a life sentence.
Right.
Because that's what I'm due. If I get nicked with another firearm, I will get a life sentence.
So you've got to be an upstanding member of the community.
Yeah. So I've been out 2 years. 2 years last week I've been out.
Right.
So I've been trying my best. I've had a few days work here and there, but it's not me. I'm finding it hard and getting overwhelmed with a lot of things. Like, I wanted to get involved with acting as well. Right. And I watched a lot of your stuff and that, and
amazing.
I can actually play myself. I can come and tie someone up. I could be a robber. Get on the fucking floor, you mug. Do you know what I mean? I can come and sort someone out.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So what I'm doing now, I'm trying to get into schools and prisons. I'm going into Feltham prison on the 25th of January to talk to the kids. But when I talk to them, I've got to make it hit home. I've got to make them realise this ain't the one. I went away for 8.5 years and I got forgotten about. I fully got forgotten about. Literally about 3 friends stayed in contact with me throughout, and that was it. Now I fucked everyone off.
Right.
They're still doing the same thing. I've gave everyone a heads up. I was like, you lot have got a good amount of money now. You lot need to come away from it. Because I promise you, it's going to burn you when you miss your kids.
Yeah.
I gave you lot the heads up now.
Have you got kids as well?
My daughter's 12 now. I left her when she was 2.
Wow.
And I'm still trying to build a bond with her. She's got a bit of an attitude though.
What?
She's got a bit of an attitude, but we're getting on top of it. I've got better things to come to, and I need to get up here sorted, because see things like Belmarsh, Wandsworth, that's not prison to me, because I can do bang up. This is the biggest prison to me. I need to get out of my own head.
Right.
Because I overthink so much. And I know I've got a lot of good to give as well. I've done a lot of shit, don't get me wrong, but I feel I've got a lot of good to give out.
So obviously when you if you did a robbery and you got that the die comes out, you can't, if you go and try and spend that money, they just won't take it.
No, they won't take it. Like, I know a lot of friends who got nicked with it. Some of them got like 3 months in prison for handling stolen goods, they call it, stolen money. But a lot of people was using them in like ticket machines, because they still go through and you can buy like 70p ticket and then get all the change back from the 20s.
Right.
You'll end up with about 20 grand in pound coins and that after, but they're played out. They're played out. Them cash vans are played out.
I remember in the 90s, it was a big thing, wasn't it? That
Massive things. They used to have the smoke ones back then.
Right. Because I just remember hearing, oh, there was a robbery of this van, there was a robbery of that van. I was like, fucking, these vans are getting robbed like left, right, and centre. And I did think, you know, there must be some way of the law enforcement coming down on it. You know what I mean? And it felt like every other day there was one getting robbed.
They was going left, right, and centre. I'd done my first one when I was 17 years old.
Wow.
I got fucking caught for it though. It was fucking, it's bad. I think it's 2005. I think it was the end of July. Do you remember when the London tube bombings were going off?
Yeah.
So anyway, all the tube stations and train stations are on high alert. But I'm thinking they're going to be more in Central on high alert. So anyway, I've gone to Streatham train station and I've caught a van pulling up. So I was thinking, yeah, he's filling up the cash machine in there. This is a pucker little spot. I put the car on the back street. I watched him go in with the last cassette and I thought, yeah, let's go with my Cody. I've gone inside the train station, grabbed the cassette, and as I've looked up, there's old Bill already in there with their guns already out, because they're on high alert, ain't they? But I wasn't to know that. I didn't think there's going to be a Streatham. So anyway, I've made off with the cash box, got away, loads of old Bill chasing, so I've thrown it at them to try and hit them in the legs. I got back to the getaway car and my driver wasn't in the car. He's either bottled it because he was across the road. So me and my Cody's had to carry on running up this long road at the back of Caesars in Streatham. I don't know if you know that. Yeah, I had to running up that long road, and I went into the middle of the road, and that's when I'm telling my driver, come and get us, come and get us. But as I'm doing that, a riot van's pulled up behind me. I've just looked at my Cody. I said, just go guilty, mate. We ended up getting 3 years, and we both went to Feltham.
And that was at 17?
Yeah.
Wow.
My dad was already in prison at that point as well, doing a 10.5.
So he was already in prison?
For the same thing.
I mean, was there a lot of planning that went into that? Or was it literally just...
With that day, Terry, I was just... We was bored. It was summer. It was something to do. We had a few stolen cars on the estate. And I was trying to bring my friend in to help him get a couple of quid, but he wasn't even in the car. Wow. But yeah, it looked so unplanned when we got to court. I think that's why we got the 3 years. There was no... firearms involved, just he got a little body shot, right, and that was about it. Whereas the last one, when I got out of the car, you don't plan on people getting hurt when you do these things either, right. By the way, I put that
you just want to get the money and go.
You just want to get the money and go because they're insured for it anyway. On this last one, what I've done,
did you used to say, don't be a hero?
I probably end up saying something stupid. I'd rather just point the gun, just give me the fucking money, just keep it plain and simple. But the one we done 2 weeks before the robbery took place, we was watching it. It was all nice. The geezer all got out of the van, was about 4 foot tall. I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is going to be a quick, like 100 quid out of this machine. Right. And then the day of the robbery comes. I pulled up in the car. The geezer who gets out is about 20 stone. Right. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, man. But I've already got a dog on me, so I don't mind anyway. Right. So I've got out of the car and I've stuck it to him.
And when he's talking about a dog, he's not talking about one that goes woof. He's talking about one that goes bang.
Yeah, fucking 38 special. But anyway, when I got out of the car, I stuck the gun to him and he swung for me. He actually swung for me. He was not fazed by the gun whatsoever. Wow. But as he's done that, I've rolled him and I've gun bucked him and I've caught him right in the jaw about 3 times. And then as he's calmed down, he's laid on top of the cassette. And I swear to God, I've had to do a deadlift to get him off the money. Okay. And then I got back in the car.
All them burpees come in useful.
They come in. I used to be a lot bigger than this. I was about 16 stone back then.
Wow.
And it's about a week later I got nicked for it. Right. So they've gone through all of their cameras. And what got me nicked was an ANPR camera 5 miles away from the area. This was 2 weeks before. My car driving in convoy of the car that was used. You can't see me driving my car or the stolen car. So that is what kind of led them to me anyway. So I got bail. They from that, they raided the house, found nothing, no guns, no money, nothing found. Then they put an OBO on me for about 8 months. They even signed up to my local gym.
Wow.
Searching the lockers. I didn't find none of this out until I actually got charged and in court and that I found all that out. They followed me to Bicester Village. I'm not sure if you know where it is. It's like a shopping centre.
I've been there on numerous occasions.
Oh, I bet you have, mate.
It's a good place.
Yeah, so I went there. I spent 1,200 quid and I'm not really into clothes anyway. I spent it on my daughter and my daughter.
The Ralph Lauren up there.
The Ralph Lauren, right? I bought a nice little Ralph Lauren dresses and that for my daughter. I spent 1,200 quid. Anyway, they're taking pictures of me spending money. It's in £20 notes and they're saying that them £20 notes come from the thing, but they couldn't prove they can. You lot have already said there was die on the money, so that should have said it all, but there was no die on no money. I got paid £10,000. I had 3 white collar boxing fights. And the promoter gave me 10 grand because I was a good ticket seller. He come forward, the judge accepted it. So now, loads of circumstantial bits of evidence are adding up. I got previous for cash in transits back in 2005. My dad got numerous charges as well. And then, boom, they charged us 8 months later. But I'm looking at the case, Terry, and I'm thinking, this is weak. We're walking it. There's no DNA found in the car that was used. No money was found. No firearm was found, and you don't know what colour the armed robber was. You said he was tall and slim. I was about 16 stone at the time. I'm not exactly tall. I'm 5'10". Right. So I'm thinking, this is sweet. There's all the evidence they need is not there. It's loads of little circumstantial bits. But when we got to trial, I was just looking at the jury. I was thinking, you lot look fucking horrible today. Right. I knew. I was thinking, oh, we're done. So when it comes to the day of verdict, I already know I'm getting a guilty. I just don't like the look of them. And they brought us back 3 months later for sentencing. Anyway, he's made us stand, found him guilty, whatever. Brought us back 3 months later for sentencing. I'm expecting to get a 10 years being a good result or 12 years being the worst. So when he said, Lewis Clark, please stand, I sentence you to 16 years. I stood up, I said, who, me? And I've looked behind me like they made a mistake. So I've ended up with a 16 years. Then my dad, they had no other option but to give him an 8.5-year life sentence because it's his third firearm strike.
Wow.
And then another 3 months after that, they brought me back to court again for the money because no money was found. They said it was unusable, but yet they gave me a confiscation order for it and an extra year in prison. So I ended up with 17 years altogether.
Wow.
So I done just under 8.5 out of it altogether because I ended up paying the confiscation order back in the end just to get out for Christmas.
That is fucking unbelievable.
So now I've paid the money back, but I'm stuck with a 15 grand.
Did you think I could have killed somebody and got out in less time?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I could have worked in Asda's for a few years and got that. And just a funny story, I went for a job interview at Asda's when I was a kid. Left school. Well, I didn't leave school. I didn't really do much school. I thought I suited up and I'm going for an interview at Asda's. I've got black trousers on. I had the shittest shoes on, some Wallabies. Don't know if you remember them.
Yeah, yeah.
Black jumper, just plain and simple. There was 8 of us and there was 6 vacancies for Asda's. I was one of the unlucky 2 who didn't get a job at Asda. That knocked my confidence. It fully knocked my confidence. So I went back to selling
Asda
drugs.
Didn't want me.
That's a bit muggy, isn't it? Proper muggy turnout. So I ended up just going back to selling drugs.
Right.
But why all this was going on is...
You know what? I know I don't condone you obviously selling drugs.
No, of course not.
But obviously, you know, if you were working in Asda, you probably wouldn't have earned as much money.
I was doing pretty well.
Was it like £5 an hour or something?
I don't even know what it was. I filled in a CV and everything. Right. My first ever CV. Oh, mate. So I went back to selling drugs. I would have been like 16, 17. Had my little moped.
But you see, Asda, this is fucking partly your fault. Right? If you'd give him the job, he might have not gone down that road.
Yeah, it really would have, you know, because I was going to try. I was actually going to try and get a job. I did try. Right. Asda's mugged me off.
Did your mum work as well?
She worked in a pie mash shop on Wandsworth Road for a little while.
What a great place. I bet you had free pie and mash as well.
Do you know what? When the pies come home, because she used to bring all the leftover pies home, the crisp on the top of the pies. Oh, mate, pucker. So, yeah, she worked in there for a little while, but it wasn't that long. I've never really seen mum and dad work. So, for them to be at home all the time, it was normal. Right. Or whereas my dad would come home with a load of money and that felt normal as well. When my dad says go and work, I thought he's actually going to work. He's actually going to fucking tie someone up, the bastard.
You at school going, yeah, when my daddy comes home, he comes home with bags of cash.
Oh, Terry, man. Do you know what? I've been writing a book, yeah. And I've done a couple podcasts now, but I'm saving...
What podcast did you do?
James English.
Right, you did one of his, yeah?
That is the biggest one I've done so far, James English. That's nearly on 280k.
Amazing.
Yeah, that really got me out there. I've done Lad Bible. It didn't really go that well.
Right.
But I've only told half my life on these podcasts. Right. I'm saving the other 50% for some books. Because I've got some crazy stories. Wicked. I'm thinking I'd love to share this, but I need to save something cool. So
we'll try and share a couple today, just so that we've got something different to James English and Lad Bible.
Oh, do you know? No, I can't really give too much away, but there's some funny little stories to go in there. There's some really sad moments, some really high moments. Yeah. A lot of funny ones when I was a kid. When I was about 13 years old, I was in Nine Elms Market. Yeah. And me and my mate Mick nicked a milk float. Yeah, and mate, we've come round our estate. We live on an estate called Patmore Estate. We've come round the estate. I'm driving this electric fucking milk float. Who happens to just be walking past my dad? Lewis, what the fuck are you doing? Get out! But I left the milk float in the middle of the road.
What's a milk, Dad?
You know what's a milk, Dad?
Semi-skimmed.
Oh, do you know what? The orange. Remember the orange juice and that on the back of them?
Yeah, that was the bollocks.
Oh, they was pucker. Yeah, I used to love all that.
Do they still go around now? Because I ain't seen any.
We had a dairy factory on our estate, but it's all been knocked down. It's got all brand new buildings right opposite the power station now. Yeah. But there's loads of stories. Like it's one I'm going to give you the holiday story.
Yeah, wicked.
We went Jamaica. And we went on a fishing trip. We went on a fishing trip in Jamaica, and we're out in the middle of the ocean. And out of nowhere, there's a massive a truck inner tube just floating in the middle of the ocean.
What was?
An inner tube, like out of a truck.
Right.
Full up with drugs. I was young, so I'm not. I know where it is, but I'm thinking, what do I do now? Like, I know my dad was getting excited when he see it. His mate Rupert had a great day. It's only cannabis, I believe. Right. But when I see the little blocks and that, but it's just something out of a movie. It's just floating in the middle of the ocean. I could not believe it. And Rupert pulled it in. He is quite come from a poor family, Rupert. Right. And you should see the smile on his face. He's thought, I've had a right touch here.
Fuck the marlin, I've got the cannabis.
Mate, he had a right touch there. And do you know what? I've got some pictures to go in my book because I've got pictures from the fishing trip to go in there.
What do you reckon you got? What was in that inner tube, would you say?
Well, it's in Jamaica, so it's not that fucking much for a box of cannabis or high grade, whatever it would be. It probably would have back then about 3s or something, or 28s.
For what, 3 boxes?
For a box of high grade over there, probably about 28.
A box is a kilo,
right? Yeah.
So it was about 3 kilos of puffing.
Mate, there's probably about 30 or more in this thing. That'd have been nice if it was coming down the River Thames.
Yeah.
I'd have just rolled that straight in. You know what I mean? But I was quite a young kid. I didn't really know what to do with it. And obviously my we're on a family holiday. Dad can't bring it back on the plane with us. Right. Well, what I know of anyway. But yeah, no, Rupert definitely had a good time.
I suppose you did as well, because did you smoke it or not?
I don't do drugs, no. Okay. I have a drink occasionally. But yeah, drugs, I don't think they'd agree with me. I've seen a lot of family members on drugs, and I walked in on my auntie years ago and she was just laid out. So I see enough to put me off drugs. Like I could have either went down that road and started taking drugs, but I didn't. It was enough to put me off.
Yeah, you were like that. Don't get high on your own supply.
Yeah, exactly that.
But lots of people, it's funny because some people that we've interviewed for the podcast have, but a lot of them are like, no, I don't do that because, you know.
Yeah, and my dad's very anti-drugs as well, so I think my mum used to take like speed and that growing up. You know when she's 100 mile an hour around the house doing the cleaning. Right. I think that was the drug back then, though, wasn't it? Speed. Right. And I think all the mums were doing it, and she used to be doing her little housework and that. It's only when I look back at pictures now to see my mum's eyes are like this. But yeah, I put my mum through a lot there, and I blame myself for her turning out the way she did. But she's a lot better now. She's off the drugs. She's takes her medication. She's quite a laugh now, actually.
So what is she? When she come out, did she have to go to like?
She went to Springfield.
Oh, so she actually went in a facility to.
I used to have to go and visit her there and take her like canteen. It's not prison, but I used to take her canteen and that, and it is just so horrible to see.
What did they give her then? Did they actually put her on some prescription drugs?
Yeah, because you know when they put you on certain meds, it makes your face blow up and that makes you put on weight. She just looked like a different person, Terry, man. I remember coming home late. It's about 1 a.m. till I've come home. My mum's sitting in the passage. I shouldn't laugh here, but she's sitting in the passage with a tin of spray paint and the biggest kitchen bit. I'm thinking, I was actually scared, thinking she's going to put that straight through my chest. I said, Mum, what are you doing? She's like, they're out there. You know, she's schizophrenic. Right. She's telling me there's people in the bushes. She's looking at all the shadows of the trees. She's got me on doing.
Oh, so she actually really did believe that there was somebody out there that was going to.
Yeah, so at first, I used to believe it. It's not until I started to grow up and I was like, fucking hell, she must have taken something or her medication not working. Because the amount of times I used to grab my dog and go out in the house and be like, where, Mum, where? And I'd be up and down. She had me up and down the streets looking in trees. And then after a while, I was like, oh, she's just on one. She's not like that now. It's just sad. It's really sad because I do blame myself.
Do you know something though? It's sometimes people do get sick and it's nothing to do with, you know, you or your dad, but I suppose because you were in and out of jail and like you said, you put under pressure, you probably did blame yourself subconsciously for not being well. But, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people that have got, I mean, mental health in this country now is an epidemic. You know, there's a lot of young kids, rich, poor, middle class. It doesn't seem to differentiate just because you live in a council estate. And it gets older people, they're fucking self-harming.
Terry, it's really sad. Like I talk about mental health quite a lot now because a lot of people look up to me still around the estate. And there was a lot of times when I was either in prison or even outside when I was thinking, I don't even care if I wake up in the morning, Terry. Like I feel that sad. I feel that low. I don't care if I wake up in the morning. But I could never like harm myself and commit suicide. I could never do that. But if I was to get hit by a train or a bus, I wouldn't care. You know, I wouldn't mind going out like that, but I couldn't physically do it to myself.
You got to go out like that. You don't want to suffer.
Yeah, I'll probably end up getting hit by a bus and just breaking a bloody leg or something. Then I've got to live with a broken leg instead. I
mean, I can't remember who this person was, but somebody told me this story about this person. And I think it was a fella. And he was like depressed and he was, you know, unhappy. And he wanted to like end it. And he threw himself. I don't know if he threw himself off a building or in front of a train, but he whatever he did, it was basically just to get him fucking wiped out. and I think he broke so many bones in his body, and he was put in a wheelchair, and he was literally just fucked. Right, he was still there, but he was fucked, and you just sort of think, for the rest of your life now, you got to be like that, and it's not always about you having to suffer; it's about your family. You know what I mean? I mean, a friend of mine told me a horrific story about a guy who decided he wanted to end it all just before Christmas one year, and he fucking hung himself in his house so that when his wife and kids come home, they fucking found him hanging there. And you just think, if you're going to do that, mate, you might be depressed, but fucking do it somewhere else, because your wife and kids are going to see that, and for the rest of their lives, they're going to fucking... I mean, you imagine every Christmas you fucking got that in your head. Yeah. I mean, it's just a fucking horrible thing to do.
That's what stopped me from doing a lot. I look at things now thinking, my daughter would absolutely miss me, even though she does my nutting, drives me mad. She'd miss her dad, and that'd break my heart, like, to not my little girl not to have her dad about. Yeah. So she stops me. She helps me a lot, because on our first
She's daddy's girl.
Not really, Terry, man. She's really hard. But do you know what? She was, for the first 2 years of her life, I didn't miss not one night feed. I was there every single day. And when I got birded, my first prison visit with her, Terry, mate, it broke my heart. And it was leaving time. She's come on a visit. It's leaving time, and she's 2 years old, but she doesn't understand that I can't come with her. I'm stuck in this chair, Hallie, like, and my little girl's looking at me, and she's just like, "You come home now, Daddy." And like them words has stayed with me.
I must have fucking felt like someone's ripping your heart out,
mate. Them words just bring tears to my eyes instantly. Like, I broke that little girl's heart, and she's like, "You come home now, Daddy." And I'm thinking, I can't do anything, and I can't show her I'm sad. I can't let tears come down my throat. I've got a lump in my throat. Anyway, I picked her up, kissed her. I was like, "Go with Mummy, Hallie." Anyway, got back to myself. I was like, oh my God, I've broken her heart. What have I done? And that's when it really hit home. I need to do better. Like, I don't blame my dad for anything, but everything my dad put me through, not being there for me growing up, I'm doing the same thing to my daughter. Yeah. So I need to break that chain, and them words are my go-to words. You know, when I'm feeling shit, or if I want to go and fucking go in a bank and tie everyone up, I was thinking, "You come home now, Daddy," and I'm good again. Right. Like, she needs me. Do you know what I mean?
When you did these robberies, right? You originally said earlier on that you did them, and it was literally just like off the cuff, and obviously
that was when I was a lot younger. Yeah.
But then when did the actual planning come in? Was that sort of did you actually think, I need to plan this out better, or did someone actually put their arm around you and go, right, Lewis, this is how we need to do it, mate?
Do you know what? I can't remember what fucking film it was. Yeah, it's a British film. They go through the side of a building with a rammer on the front of their van into a money factory.
Did it have Robert Carlyle and Ray Winston in it?
I can't remember. I think it was based...
I seem to remember that. I can't
remember. They built a fucking rammer on the front of the van, go straight through the side of the building where all the money is.
It was that one. I can't think what it's called.
I can't remember the actors in there.
Ray Winston and Robert Carlyle were definitely in that movie.
Yeah. Mate, I loved that film as a kid, and I looked up to thinking, I want to do that. And I'm not blaming that film, but from...
He was inspired by that movie.
I was inspired by that movie, and Terry, I started having sleepless nights over...
Dreaming about diggers with fucking...
Oh, mate, yeah, it drove me absolutely mad. My friends used to think I was mental, because I used to try and bring them along. Come on, we could do this, man. They're like, fuck off, Lou, man. Like, but I started getting obsessed by cash vans, and I was having sleepless nights. I was thinking, that's going to be there at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. I can grab that one. Or that's going to be there Thursday morning. And I swear to God, Terry, I was going insane. And I know it sounds mad, but I should have went to the doctors for help and said, I can't stop thinking about committing robberies. And I started getting more into the planning things when I started being around my dad and seeing how he worked.
So when you did a robbery, would it be like a surveillance type thing where you'd hang around and you see when the vans come, see what time?
Yeah. So you'd get like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before you go and see how it works, see how many deliveries they go in and out with. Then you can kind of work out which cassette to take, which one's going to have the 40 grand in, which one's going to have the 20. And then from that, you just go and work out your routes, where you're going to park the first car, where the second car is going to be parked. And I quite enjoyed that bit. And even when I used to get get some money and I used to enjoy it, but I enjoyed actually doing it. I used to get tunnel vision. On the last one, there was loads of people around me, but I just got tunnel vision. Like when I'm hitting them with the gun, I don't see no one else around me. And what's horrible to think is there could have been like school kids or something walking around. And imagine if that went off while there's school kids walking around. I could have scared the life out of them. And this is what people need to think about now. Because what got me so long, Terry, that guy who I robbed said I pulled the trigger.
Right.
I did. I promise you, hand on my heart, I didn't pull the trigger. When I stuck the gun to him, like I said, he's tried to hit me and I've rolled him and gun bucked him. But he said I pulled the trigger and then looked at the gun to say, why didn't you go off? Not being funny, I'm not going to kill someone for 40 grand. I'm not going to kill no one anyway, but for 40 grand, you can fuck right off.
Right.
But yeah, I've done all the jails and that now. I've done Belmarsh. I've done everyone you can think of, really.
When you did the bank, the vans,
yeah,
was that just literally you go in, you get the cassette, you go, or they come out, you get the cassette and go? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Depending on what they're doing, I'm not saying you want to do it, but it's easier to just do the cash machines, isn't it? Because you know every time they go in and they're filling up. If they're coming out, then it's an empty cassette.
So
don't do them either.
Yeah, not now anyway.
Not now. Yeah, you get caught, man. Too many cameras and grasses.
And then obviously you talked about, and I don't know if you was joking when you said about doing a bang and tying people up, but have you actually done that where you've actually tied people up?
Allegedly, I've been accused. Right, okay. Allegedly, yeah.
Oh, you was accused of it, right? Okay.
I've been, yeah, allegedly. Like the police had me on surveillance and they had me watching about 15 different locations, like jewelry shops opening up and stuff.
So when the police have you under observation, did you ever sort of think something felt unusual? Or
100%.
Did you know?
I knew straight away. I couldn't go to work for about 18 months because I knew they was following me about. Like before that robbery, they was on me for about a year. So I'd done nothing.
And would that be just the local police, or would that be like a flying squad?
Flying squad.
Right,
flying squad, yeah. And it was just so obvious. I used to do like U-turns on them to see if they spot me. They even put a transit van outside my house. I knew it was a surveillance van, so I got the youngsters on the estate. I said, you lot go and smash all them windows out for me.
Take the tires off.
Yeah, they smashed all the windows out for me, and then fucking old bills come from everywhere. But they used to follow me. I went in a petrol station one time. I think you lot have been on me for about 5 minutes now. So I've just thought, let me just go on the petrol station, see what happens. They're standing right behind me, just holding a crate of beer. I was thinking, I just looked at him and I started filming him. I had a BlackBerry them days. I started filming him.
Those Blackberries were the bollocks, weren't they?
I still got mine, and it went against me in court, Terry. They said, Mr.
They said you should have had an iPhone.
Was they out then? I can't remember if iPhone was out. Yeah, it was out. It went against me in court. They said Mr. Clark was very aware of his surroundings, and they was talking about different times. Because I remember I went to do a bit of work, Tal, and then something just wasn't sitting right. I've got a doodah on my leg. Driver's there. I've gone to pull up to do this bit of graft, and something just didn't feel right. I'm looking at this woman. I'm thinking, you're not sitting right with me. She's sitting at a bus stop. So I thought, I said, hold on, give it a second. Let me see what's happening here. A bus has come past and she didn't go on it. I said, we're going. I said, drive, just drive. Carried on driving. Every road we went down, on each road, police cars were lined up. They let us go for some reason.
Wow.
They let us go for some reason, but I got nicked on that one like 3 months
They probably
after.
was hoping you was going to do something. I mean, you didn't.
I've got a feeling they wanted to watch me do one so they can get rid of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I've seen a few robberies take place now when they let them actually do it, and when they're coming out, they shoot them. I think one happened in Portsmouth. I can't remember the fella's name.
Really?
Doing a cash van when he was.
I suppose that's a better deterrent than putting them in jail, isn't it? I mean, it saves the taxpayer money. Takes the taxpayer money, and it sends a message, doesn't it?
Yeah. But prison's like a money making scheme now. They make so much money from us.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember how much.
I thought it cost the state money, no?
Well, it makes the government money though as well.
Right.
They make untold out of. I can't remember. I might have to do some research on that and I'll let you know. But they make absolutely untold on us. But I'm definitely out. I'm knackered.
Right.
I'm definitely tired now.
So how old are you now? 37.
37. Yeah.
So you're retired at 37.
Not retired. I'm not
resting.
I'm not where I want to be at the moment. But when I was away, Terry, I was just thinking, what am I going to do when I get out? What's the plan? I've always wanted to. I like the social media things. I love the old school British films. Yeah. I was thinking I want to start my own podcast, do my little YouTube, and eventually I want to get involved with acting. But like I said, I've got no acting skills. But if someone needs me to play myself,
well, I think you'd be great.
Be an extra.
Yeah.
Or even, I feel like I can add to something. You know, if someone's got a film set going on, I feel like I can add to it.
I'm sure there'd be something for you in their next film, Lewis.
There's not really much father and son armed robbery films. I've not really seen it. No one nicked my fucking idea because we will fall out. But there's not a lot of that going on. And all jokes aside, Terry,
I think writing the book though, genuinely, I think doing the book is good, and then that can lead obviously to the movie. You know, so
that's what I'm thinking, man. I'm just thinking, you never know who's watching.
Yeah,
you never know who's watching. Something like, do you know, I want to work with this guy. He's actually
okay, right. So just to let you all know, we've already signed a contract, so we're making the movie.
It's done. I'd love to take part, even if I'm just in the background at the fucking bar or smashes someone in the head with a ball. Fucking mug. I'd really like to take part in something like that. I'm still on. I told probation I'm actually coming here today. They're well happy, well pleased.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I keep in contact with them once a month now. I've got 6 years left on my license.
So if the probation officer watched this podcast,
he's probably Ben. Wow. Big up Ben.
Yes, Ben. Thank you.
Ben's definitely.
Make sure you subscribe and like. Yeah,
hit the subscribe button. Ben's proper. He's been really supportive and
amazing.
Yeah, he's all up for everything I'm doing, especially where I'm doing motivational talking in prisons and schools.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I'd love to tell my whole story in it, but I would need to save the other 50% for the book.
Well, that's all right. That's good.
And I want you lot are going to enjoy it, man.
Yeah. But why don't you tell us some funny stories about some other criminals that aren't related to you? You must have heard some funny ones over the years. The best one I heard was this guy had basically planned to rob a post office, and he like surveilled it, and he turned up to do the robbery, and it was shut. And then when he was driving away, the police stopped him and said, "Where are you going?" And they fucking found a gun, and he went to fucking jail.
Oh,
I think he got saying like 10 years for having a farm and planning a robbery. And I said, if he'd have, he could have got 250 quid for his worst criminal. But I don't know if you've got any funny stories like that.
Not that I could think of on the top of my head.
Right.
It's funny you mentioned post office. Not me, by the way, but allegedly someone went to do a post office. So they're watching the cash van, but the two people in the car, he's watching him through his, what are they called? Fucking mirror, sorry. He's watching him in the mirror. So he's thinking, you can see him coming in and out. But he's watching it. As the man's coming out, he's told the other guy to go now. But he's coming out, getting into the back of the van. Whereas the guy with the gun's running the shop. He's run around the whole shop, and the guy's sat in the van the whole time. So he's run around the whole shop. He's got back in the car. He's not in there. And as he got back in the car, we see the van driving off. Right. So he's just running around this fucking post office for no reason with a balaclava on.
Fucking hell, I bet that would have been scary if you'd gone to post something.
Yeah. Oh, no, there probably are some stories, but I can't think of any off the top of my head at the minute.
For you, obviously being on the street and doing your different things, what would you say? We'll talk about the prison in a minute. Mm-hmm. What would you say is the worst violence you've seen outside?
Oh, my brother being shot or me being stabbed. My brother's been shot 5 times, stabbed 5 times. He's fucking still breathing somehow, the bastard. But the worst...
Sounds like 50 Cent.
100%. I don't know how he's doing it, but the worst one for me, Terry, was standing outside a bar on Wandsworth Road, and the bouncer got shot in his head.
Wow.
Right next to me. And this is what fucking pisses me off with the gang violence. It's always an innocent person what gets hit. This geezer's coming in the middle of the road with machine guns, like, started letting off. And he's got the bouncer straight in his nut. And I've had to step over his body, got back in the bar, jumped over. And do you know what I had to do, Terry? Because I thought, am I making all these stories up? I actually had to go on Google and type in 2007 or 2008 bouncer being shot on Wandsworth Road. I'm thinking, did this really happen? I'm like, it fucking did. But even my brother's incident, I'm thinking, this is mental.
Do you know what's, a lot of people that are watching and listening to this podcast, especially the ones that are based in the UK, won't understand how bad the gun crime is.
I play it down a lot, Terry. It's a lot worse than what I'm talking,
it was bad. Listen, I was doing clubs in the 90s and the early 2000s, and it was really bad then. So I can only imagine it's got fucking 10 times worse.
It has got. I play it down a lot. There was a lot more going on than what I'm saying. I just don't like to glamorize that lifestyle because I regret a lot of things I've done over the years, and a lot of people have died. A lot of my friends are all doing 30 years in prison and that now. It's not until I was about 5 years into my sentence and I was in H&P only. And like I said, I never used to get on with some of the boys from Brixton and Stockwell.
Right.
And I've got onto this wing and I've looked up, I said, "Miss, where's my cell?" And she pointed to the cell where all the fucking boys are like, "Fuck's sake, here we go." Put my bags in, I just stared them all in the face. But as weeks and months went by, I started a little nod of the head, cool, bro. And then I ended up being the gym guy, so I had to do the gym list. So they'd be coming, "Oh, Luke, you put me on the list today." And before you know it, I'm talking with all these guys that I used to have shootouts with. Like some of their friends are doing life in prison and are dead. Some of my friends are in prison doing life and are dead. But it's got to come a time when you got to kind of let things go. Like, see the fella that shot my brother, Terry. I don't want him dead.
Right.
I don't want him in prison. I just don't want him to ever do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one fucking wins. Like, someone will do life in prison, someone's dead and someone's missing their son. No one fucking wins in it whatsoever, Tar.
There is no winner, is there? I mean, that's the I think that's the sad thing about crime, really. You know, if you speak to people that have done serious crime and they've done serious time, there's only been one person who's come on this podcast and said, "It's made me who I am today." Every other person that I've spoken to has said, you know, it's a mug's game. You know, when you're doing it all, you never think you're going to get caught. You never think you're going to go to jail.
You don't.
And then when you get the bird, like you said, fucking 17 years, you're like...
Mate, I was thinking, how am I going to get through this bit of bird, mate? And I'm still in contact with some of my friends who are doing these life sentences. I went to Whitemore last year to visit my friend, the one who's doing the 33 or 34 years. He's 14 years into it. And his mindset's changed. Like, "Lou, man, why did I do that?" All the boys have stopped visiting him. He sits in his cell every day just staring at the floor thinking, "I still got another 18 years to do out of this."
It's a long time.
And I shot the wrong person. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Shot someone who wasn't even a part of this whole gang
That's even
stuff.
worse, isn't it? Fucking shooting the wrong person.
Every single... I was in Belmarsh for 2 years at one point for a different charge. It would be in the book, that story. And I got not guilty on that one. But I was in prison there and all the boys who were doing life, all just staring at the floor thinking, "Why the fuck did I do that?" Every single one of them. But we need to start getting through to the youngsters a bit earlier on. So I'm hoping I can make a little bit of difference when I speak to some of them at schools.
One of the things that I don't know how you solve this, by the way, but I think one of the big problems for the youth now growing up, they carry knives for protection. Some of them, you know, if they're in that life, will carry a strap, right? And again, for protection, right? And I think as you're going through this life, they get sucked into this sort of what I call gang bullshit, where they go, "Right, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to be bad," and all the rest of it. And they will stab you 20 times. They will shoot you and think that that's going to make them like increase their rep. But the majority of them don't wear gloves. They don't think about the CCTV. They don't plan it. It's just a spontaneous thing.
They're fucking reckless.
And
with
then
it now.
they get caught. They get a triple life sentence, or they get 10 years or 20 years or 30 years or whatever it is. And then they're walking around the jail going, "Yeah, I did this, I did that." And then you sort of think, mate, when you come out, like your mate said, no one will fucking know who you are. Nobody will care who you are. And all those people that were with you in the gang or in the hood or whatever, they're all going to be off doing their own thing. They're probably married with kids, having a great time.
Having a fucking great time.
Or you're sitting there just fucking, like you said, staring at the floor. So I think there has to be, and I don't know how you do this, but I think, you know, somebody has to speak to the youth and they have to basically say, "Look, guys, you might think all this gang bullshit's great. You might, but I think a lot of it's caused by, if you're from a working class background and you haven't got a mum or dad, and you know, you get into this poor me thing, you then see somebody having it away and you go, "Well, that." And then you get into crime and you think it's a shortcut, but then you don't think about the long-term consequences. And obviously you start thinking, "Yeah, I've got respect now." And obviously if you're on a council estate and you're not great at school and people are looking down their nose at you at school because you're not the brightest kid or, you know, you haven't got the best clothes because you're poor or whatever, then you fall into that thing. And then when you get the respect, all of a sudden you go, it's like the crime becomes your thing, you know what I mean?
Too. And I think they're not even carrying knives nowadays. They're like fucking little miniature swords. And
I've seen them machetes.
Do you know what they call them, Terry? They call them zombie killers.
Wow.
That's what they call them. Fucking, they're like this big, they have proper sword fights and that with them. But
I always thought that, and I've seen them, but I've never seen anybody use one. And I've always thought if somebody actually pulled that out, it's so fucking big.
You got to use it as a sword. Fucking taking it proper old school. But what happens with all these estates, Terry, is the youngsters inherit it from us lot. So someone like myself, I used to have a lot of trouble with the Brixton and Stockwell ones.
Right.
I've grown out of it now, but the youngsters are now having trouble with their youngsters. So they've kind of inherited half of the trouble from us lot. So to kind
it's just like a cycle.
It's a massive cycle. So for us to try and get on top of this, what's pandemic was going on is all like not the top. I'd say like the top boys on the estates, and that we need to knock our heads together because it's going to be down to people like myself and a couple other old school fellas to kind of hit home with the youngsters. Because all the boys what I spoke to in jail, they're like, Lou, man, why do we even beef each other? They can't tell me why we're having problems, but yet we still shoot at each other. But not one person say, why do we beef? I don't know. And that says it all. But I think it's down to a lot of the older lots on the estates to kind of knock heads now. Not the police. The police ain't solving nothing.
I mean, why do you think... Because I was actually thinking this the other day, and I was thinking, when I grew up, I mean, I'm 52, right? But when I grew up, I used to be fucking frightened of the police, right? The police, you know, if they pulled up, even if you weren't doing anything,
just run anyway.
I'm going to get it. And even if you're doing nothing wrong, and if you were doing something wrong, if they didn't nick you, they would fucking beat you. They would roll you up in a fucking mattress and give you a good eye.
I've been rolled up by them. Right?
But that's what I mean, right? So at that point, you start thinking, I don't want to fuck around with the police. But I was thinking, why has it gone?
Do you know what they said, Tol, when my brother got shot? When they arrived, because I'm quite well known to the gun police in South London, they said, "Are you going to go over there and shoot someone now? Not are you all right? Not once did I get help. Wow. It's only now I get help for PTSD and I'll go counselling once a week, Terry.
Right.
Just to get stuff off my bit of weight off. So I talk to someone every week.
Did you reach out for that? Or did they come to you?
I reached out because Terry, a few months ago, I was getting really overwhelmed with life. I was really struggling. I don't make the sort of money what I used to. I think I could be a better dad than what I am. I actually went to the GP and I told him, I said, I'm feeling a bit suicidal, you know. Not that I'm going to go and kill myself, but I'm just feeling that low that I don't care if a buster's comes and takes me out, or I don't care if I wake up in the morning. And the GP actually reached out to someone, I can't remember, I think it's like Wandsworth Talk or Talk Wandsworth or something. So that got me on the counselling and see them once a month. And I take some medication, which I don't really like, to be honest.
Right.
It's making me a bit worse.
What is it?
Fluxetone.
Not heard of that.
You heard of it?
No.
20 milligram. I've stopped taking it because it started fucking making me even worse. But it's about talking up though. When you are feeling like that, just go and see your GP or go and see your pal. Because when I was younger, Terry, I lacked in confidence. I had no confidence growing up. I had confidence to walk in a post office and tell everyone to get on the floor or tie someone up. But did you have a line? Did you start showing me the fucking money, or what was that?
Get
your cock out. Nah, just once the gun comes out, it kind of talks for you, doesn't it?
Because when you see these movies...
Do you know what happens, Terry? Sometimes you can pull the gun out and they will be so scared, they will stay still. Or you get the fucking screamers who start acting all erratic and fucking throwing their arms everywhere, trying to get away. So when you walk in somewhere, it's about being assertive.
Right.
You don't have to say
when you
much.
When you watch the movies, it's always like, I'm making a bank robbery, I'm making a large withdrawal and all that. So, but in real life, nothing's said really.
Not much comes out your mouth.
If I did it, I'd want to say, show me the fucking money to the bank manager. Just once. Just once.
No, you can, because you got to make them know why you are actually here, even though they know it's a stick up, but them words need to come out your mouth so they know what's going on.
Right.
Just don't fuck about. Just open the safe. But you'll be pissed if it's on a fucking timer. You're probably going to bank till and you have to wait an hour for the timer to finish on the safe or something before it opens.
Do you have like, and this is a question you may or may not be able to answer, but when you do one of these things, is there a time? So when you go in, you go, we've got this amount of time, then we've got to go, or is it timeless? So it's as long as it takes.
You can't really do banks and that now. They're probably only insured for about 200 grand, I should imagine, but they're all on timers. You'll probably go in there and then you'll probably have to tie everyone up and then wait another hour for it to open. So you got to have some inside sort of knowledge. You can't just walk in there and expect that safe's going to be open. It's not like back in the 80s.
So really, the crimes of the 80s and 90s.
I'd have loved to like been an adult them ages,
right,
or 70s.
But the banks, the post offices, the security vans, they're all a thing of the past now. They're not.
Oh yeah, they're done. They got a new thing now, glue. So when you try and open it, the money's all stuck together. So when you're trying to separate, it's just ripping, and it's dye on there as well. So you're ripping it, plus it's got dye on it.
You know, if you nick that, you'd be really fucking annoyed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd be stuck. Yeah, them cash fans are they're played out. All the youngsters started doing them and that. And
so what's I know you're not involved right now, and you're obviously turning I'll say it in a minute. I know you're not involved now, and you're turning over a new leaf. But you know what are the crimes now that people are doing if they're not doing that? Is
fraud.
it just,
a lot of it's fraud now, isn't it?
Right. I didn't know if it was watches, because I know there's a lot of watches getting taken.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, a lot of people are taking people's watches and they're pulling out big fucking meat cleavers. Even Amir Khan got robbed for his watch, didn't he, last year? It is with his missus as well.
Having a curry in East London.
Having a fucking curry and he's got done. I think he got it back, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the watch theft is massive. That's what the youngsters are doing on my estate and that as well. Was doing. Don't know if they still are or whatever, because I've kind of come away from Battersea now. I don't live down there.
I think the problem with the watches is, you know, if you're stupid enough to wear one and walk around London at night, you know, you're asking for trouble. And even in the day, I mean, I know people who've had their watches taken in the day, you know.
There's hungry little kids out here, man. But that's where we need to come in and kind of show them there's another way of making money.
Yeah.
Watches are quick money. Get a little sub or something, get a quick 4 or 5 grand for it on the black market or whatever. I've never taken a watch. I've not been interested.
I think the when you look at the watch stuff, you know, it's like phones, isn't it? It seems to be watches and phones. That seems to be the
yeah. Do you know what? I've never robbed someone like that, Terry. Like, you know, like someone growing up as a teenager, some of my friends used to rob people for mobile phones, which I find really trampy. And I used to tell them off. But I'll
be honest with you, right? For me, I've always looked at crime, right, and I've always thought, if you're going to do a crime and you're that way, you know, if that's your thing,
yeah,
it's got to be worthwhile. Nicking a fucking phone off someone or someone's bag or
back
watch.
then it was like 82
or breaking in their
Nokias.
house and nicking a fucking video player.
I hate burglars.
Yeah, they're cunts.
I fully agree. I hate burglars and fucking thieves. Like, I don't mind people do robberies and rob from like commercial buildings or jewelry shops and stuff. But I've got a thing.
As long as they're ram raiding the jewelry shops and taking the watches that way,
bring
you're
me
happy
in,
with that.
yeah.
But not taking them off somebody.
No, I don't like that, Terry. I couldn't physically stand there and rob someone like that. I'd feel so horrible.
Yeah.
If I see someone getting a watch taking a shot, I wouldn't join in on that. But I was thinking, oh, you fucking little tramp. I don't like all that.
Yeah. No, I mean I know there was a thing with the footballers as well, wasn't there? A lot of the footballers were getting
targeted
watches taken when they're in clubs, and then they were targeting their houses, and a few of them. But you know, obviously, if you're on social media,
that's what they
do.
Look
at my 100 grand watch
this
or my 200 grand watch.
So what they do, how they scope people on social media, they might see you out in a fancy restaurant in Mayfair, and you might film your food or something, put it on your socials, be like, "Oh, Terry's in fucking Mayfair today. We're going to meet him outside the fucking restaurant." You might have your kettle on. Yeah. And that's how people are getting located.
Yeah. I mean, I don't wear a watch. I used to, and I used to, you know, really like watches, but I just got to the point now where I just thought, what's the value? Somebody I know, my mate was very close with this guy. He bought a fake Patek Philippe watch.
Yeah.
And was in the city of London.
How long?
And he got stabbed to death.
Oh.
For a fake watch, right? So you sort of think, you know, if you're, and you think how pissed that guy would be, the guy's gone in there to nick his watch, stabbed him to death, he's probably going to get a 20, 30 year prison sentence.
Wreck. He's got to do the whole of that as well.
Yeah, he's got nothing for it. I mean, what a mug.
Fucking moody watch. A lot of people are buying fucking replicas of their watches and that as well. But it doesn't even matter because people don't know that. They were still going to fucking.
But that's the issue. And I think in the old days, people would ask you for the watch. Now they will stab you and take
without even asking. They just.
Or chop you with it or whatever they do, you know. So.
Yeah, no, it's sad.
How do we stop that?
I don't even know.
White van, 3 guys, baseball bats. Do you think that'd help?
Yeah, that could probably help. Do you know, I've got a thing for white vans, because I'm quite a paranoid person. When I got released from prison, because I knew I used to get up to a lot of shit when I was growing up.
Right.
I remember I come home one day and there's a white van outside my cell outside my house with the side loader open. And I was walking, it's dark. I'm thinking they're gonna push me in the back of this van, man. So I'm getting paranoid, getting closer and closer. And I thought I'm gonna cross the road. And then I walked right around it. It's just a delivery, man. But my paranoia, I was thinking they're gonna push me in that van because it's something I would have probably done.
But the white vans were the thing. They were
it's getting old
because they're
transit,
nondescript. People, you know, I remember they always used to be a joke about the white van.
Yeah, white van, man. But nah, I'm trying to change my life around.
And I mean, when you had your court case and you got that, did you appeal it or not?
I did appeal it, and they weren't having none of it.
Wow.
And if I did appeal it again, then I was running a risk of them adding extra time onto my sentence. I was thinking, I don't know more extra time on the 17.
Right.
Even though I was only doing half of it, doing 8.5 out of it, it's still a long time, Terry.
Right.
But yeah, I appealed it and told me to fuck off, basically.
And when you got in jail, knowing that you've got that long period of time, what was it like when you first walked in? Was it literally like, how the fuck am I going to do this? Or did you just think, there's nothing I can do, I've just got to go through it?
Because I know jail and I've got friends doing a lot longer than me in prison. I kind of worked out how I'm going to do my sentence. So I was a BCAT to start off with. So I had to do 3.5 years in high down. And then from there, I got my CCAT. So you start breaking it down. So I'm going to do 3 years here. I do 3 years in a CCAT, do a couple years in DCAT, and then I'm home again.
Right.
But I went to DCAT in COVID, so I didn't even get fucking home leaves or town visits, really.
Wow.
I was stuck. But you work your way through the system. Did
they have to make your web masks and stuff in there?
No, in DCAT, we got stuck on a fucking billet. And they used to feed us at our doors. The whole billet was riddled with COVID. All of us had COVID.
Wow.
Absolutely. I was in my dressing gown for about a week.
Wow.
That was probably the hardest time in prison because that's what kind of fucked up my bond with my daughter because I didn't see her for about 18 months at one point. Because I wanted to surprise her. I was in CCAT and I knew I'm going DCAT soon so I can get a town visit and surprise her. So as my DCAT's coming up, the COVID's kicked in and I didn't see her for 18 months. And the next time I see her, I wasn't getting my cuddles and it broke my heart, really.
She probably, you know, as a kid, she probably felt that you didn't want her, or, you know, kids, they feel like you rejected them for whatever reason, and it's not your fault. But,
yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, you're all right with her now, though. You've got her back.
I've got Hallie now. She's good. She's good now, man. I was meant to go to a school meeting with her today at 12, but I had probation, so I couldn't make it. I had to find out how her school report goes.
Yeah, I'm sure she's done you proud.
She's better off.
She'd be in trouble. Father Christmas might not be that generous this year.
Oh, definitely.
Obviously, when you went into jail, I mean, what was, you know, like you said, you knew a few of the boys in there, but what was the sort of things that you sort of see in your time? There's going to be some funny stories, right?
Oh, there's loads of stories in prison, man. I see 2 people die in jail.
Really?
One's got stabbed, died. Another died of, not sure if you're aware of it, some stuff called spice.
Do you know something? I've never wanted to take it. I've heard about
proper
it.
I've never taken it, but mate, it makes you proper monged out.
What is it?
It's like a synthetic cannabis.
Right.
But it comes in liquid form as well now. So what people was doing is, say like if you wrote me a letter, wrote all the letter, then you sprayed the liquid form of spice onto the letter, posted it. I was getting it delivered straight to my cell door by the screws, and then what people do, they will get the letter, put it in a bit of Rizla with some cigarette and smoke it and get high, but it proper mongs you out. I had a cellmate. I went work one day, and when I've come back, he must have been smoking spice. He's sleeping, but he's fallen asleep with a patty in his mouth. So he could have choked to death. So I woke him up, and he's like, who put that there? Who put that there? I said, you fucking fell asleep with it in your mouth, you little div. And I had to kick him out myself for that, because them fumes will give me headaches. I kept thinking, why am I waking up with headaches all the time?
Right.
But what he would do, the little shit, he'd wait for me to go to sleep and then have a little fucking puff.
Right.
I used to wake up with a fucking mental headache. But that stuff was monging people out. The fellow who died off it, smoked it, and when he's coming down for surgery for his food, he's fell down the stairs, hit his head, and died. Here's my next door. That's in Onley as well.
And when you said earlier on that you actually got stabbed as well.
I got stabbed in fucking Reading. I got stabbed in Reading, little fucking shitbags.
What happened?
It was in a club called Mango, I think it was called, or Rhino. Mango or Rhino, I can't remember now. Having a great time. The bouncers have started. My mate Debo's done the bouncer, but the bouncer's younger brothers and friends were in the club as well. Started fighting with them. Got outside. Then I just started swinging out of all of them, and out of nowhere, one of them's managed to get me in the back. And I didn't even know. I managed to get away from it. Got back in the car with my power driving. I was like, fucking hell, someone threw a drink down my back. And when I've done that, it was blood. I'm not good with blood, lads. So I've passed out. Right. When I've got to the hospital, my pal Debo's like, wake up, slapping me in my fucking head, the wanker. It wasn't big. I only got 4 to 5 stitches or saying, but it's just the sight of blood was I'm not good with.
Thank God they stabbed you in the right place, because if it was the wrong place, you could
anywhere else you could probably die. Like, that's why I don't understand how my brother's still breathing. Like, he's been stabbed here, in his back about 5 times, shot. He walks with a little limp now, because that day when they come on the motorbike, he was wearing his flip-flops to div.
Right.
And the first shot's got him in his Achilles, and it's dropped him. Ooh. That's how he's fallen over. There's still a dent in one of the signs at the places where they done the shooting that day. There's a dent still there to this day.
Wow.
Like 12 or 14 years on or something like that.
And the two people that obviously that died in prison, you must have seen other stuff as well. Was it mainly just over bollocks in jail? I mean, because you're all stuck in that enclosed space.
Some fellow got sliced up really bad, actually. You know, when you get a toothbrush, you can melt a razor blade onto it. He got really sliced up really bad in the showers, left bleeding out. I
mean, what is the reason? Is it mainly just because you've upset somebody there? Or?
There's a lot of jealous people. A lot of people have an ego problem. And there's a lot of drug dealing going on in prison, and people don't like... If they see me doing well in prison, they get jealous and they might want to come and rob me, whereas that was happening all the time. And on one occasion, Terry, I actually had to save the day. I've got a phone call. I had a phone in prison the whole time anyway. But I got a phone call from one of the boys at Over Hattons, and they had one of their little runners on the wing at the time. And he was like, Lou, listen, I've just had a phone call. They got my runner tied up in the cell. I was like, what are you fucking on about? He's like, please go into this cell. They're asking for 10 grand. I've gone to the cell, and this little fellow, bless him, he's tied up to the chair. They're pouring sugar, hot sugar on him, like melting his fingers and that, demanding 10 grand from these fellas. And I knew the fellas who was doing it. I said, boys, he's one of the boys, this can't happen. It's like, Lou, only because it's you, you know, we're going to allow this. So anyway, I've untied him and I said, listen, go back to your cell and sort yourself out. I think he got moved off the wing because he had to go with healthcare because he had really bad burns. But the boys looked after me for sorting it out.
Yeah.
But a lot of that happens. Because a lot of people make big money in prison. There was a fellow, I don't want to say his name, but he done very well. He was working with one of the screws, and he was only selling tobacco. You know, ounces of tobacco in prison, Terry. 250 quid.
Wow.
So what is it, 20 quid in the shops?
Right, so that's a good markup, right?
Mate,
why would you fuck about with drugs?
Mate, exactly that.
A tobacco king.
And you're not going to get nicked. Sell 4 packs of tobacco, that's a quid.
Right.
And mate, he must have cleared at least 50, 60 quid in a couple months. Easy.
Wow.
I stopped him being robbed because he wasn't helping out a few of the boys. They've gone in there, took his stereo, they took his DVD player. And he's like, Lou. So once again, Lou's come to the rescue. Boys, this can't happen. And in the end, it started looking like I was just saving everyone. And I'm thinking, he's not even helping the little fucking youngsters out on the wing anyway.
Right.
Or looking after me, the bastard.
Right.
But he moved off the wing and that as well. And I think the screw actually got caught in the end. I gave the screw a heads up. Imagine that. I gave the screw a heads up because I see that the other officers were having a meeting and I heard his name get brought up. I was like, listen, whatever you got on you, I've done this, I was talking like this, whatever you got on you, go and get rid of it now. He's like, oh, thanks. Right. Got rid of it, and he didn't get nicked in the end, but he got suspended from work.
Wow.
I saved him.
Lou saved the screw.
Yeah. Not that I'm a fucking screw, but he was helping out the boys.
I hope he looks after you after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what, you must have some funny stories, because a lot of people talk about having the hooch in it. Do you have some hooch in it?
Oh yeah, we used to make hooch all the time. Fucking the amount of times if you leave it too long, Terry, it fucking blows up in your cell.
Oh right, so you got to drink it basically.
And I wasn't very good at making it, so I just started practicing making it. We used to have 5-litre drums.
Right.
We used to have like washing up liquid, so once it's run out, we're clear, we're allowed to put the hooch in. But I wasn't very good at brewing, but this thing expanded so big, when I've undone the lid, it smashed me in my chin and split my chin.
Fucking hell.
I didn't tell the boys because I was really embarrassed, but I smashed me in my chin and fucking hurt. And so after that, I was making someone else hold him. But do you know what I done? We had about 15 litres ready for Christmas. We had loads of music pumping. He's like, where's that coming from? Gone to the fella's cell. This geezer is paralytic in his cell. He's having a great time with all the hooch. It's like, Lou, I swear to God, I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. But I was like, fuck off, you bastard. We was all looking forward to having a drink for Christmas. But in Coldingley, H&P Coldingley, I was there from 2016 to 17. That was my favourite prison. Every weekend, without fail, there was not hooch, it was vodka, proper like Ciroc and that. Yeah. So my pal was selling it for £110 a bottle. And there was loads of MDMA going about. Like I said, I'm not into drugs. I've never done drugs before. But I've got to hold my hands off. On this occasion, I had a bit of MDMA. And I wasn't a very social person back then. And
but you were after that.
Terry, I had one of the best times of my life. I've done it. He said, Lou, pull in a bit of Rizla and just swallow it. You'll be all right. I said, I'm fucking going to die, bro. I'm going to die. Anyway, I've took it. I was like, this is fucking shit. Gone back to my cell. I just put my music on anyway. About 45 minutes ago now. The music's playing. I think Rihanna's playing. I'm like that. Then I started doing the fist. I was like, oh my gosh, it's coming. The feeling come up my toes, up my legs, into my body. I thought, this is fucking crazy. Like now I'm walking around the wing. I've got my phone in my hand. I forgot where I was because I felt like I was walking on the moon or something. So I'm walking around the wing. I was like, this is fucking sick. And the boys took my phone off me because they didn't want me getting caught. I've gone to every single cell, talking to all the boys. I'm like, listen, I know we don't talk much, but I like you. You know, you're cool, man.
You're not my brother.
You're not like, yeah. I started doing all that, and then they gave me my phone back when we time for bang out. I phoned everyone in my phone book. Listen, I know we don't talk much, but I love you. You know. It's like, yeah, I love you too as well, Lou, man. And then I FaceTime my brother. It's like, what's happening? It's like, what the fuck? My eyes were pinging. But I've done it about 2 or 3 times in that prison. Right. And that was one of my favorite ever times of my whole life. Is the come down's mad though. Right. The come down from that, you think, oh no, I don't care about me. And crazy story for you. So on that, I had some really pretty girl at the time. I nicked her from Instagram. Nice boob, pretty girl. Had her on FaceTime, was going to have a bit of sexy time. Like, she's got a out on that. She's like, Lou, what you doing? What you doing? I've looked down and I swear to God, my knob looked like a little mushroom. There was nothing there. She's like, Lou, show me what you're doing. I was like, oh, fucking definitely not.
I'd love to show you, but now's not a good time.
It's a thing called dizzle dick, isn't it? Right. They call it dizzle dick. I swear to God, there was nothing going on. I'm thinking, no, grow. Oh, mate, it looked like a fucking midget's thumb.
Did you get her to sing to you? Let it grow.
Let it grow.
Let it grow.
Oh, mate, I was in trouble thinking this girl's like a really pretty girl, man. What's going on here? And even when you go toilet, you're trying to, it goes zzz, zzz. Like it's just not coming out. But I had a great time on it. It's just the come downs, you fucking feel shit after. But I've not touched anything since.
Right. So prison wasn't all that bad. That was one of the highlights of prison.
That was one of the highlights, but I had more low times than I high. Because a lot of the times I would just sit in my cell just staring at the floor. And I used to use, to get me through my days where I was working out so hard. I was always in prison, I was just known as that gym guy, just constantly working out in the yard or if I'm in the gym training. And that's what got me through my sentence and just kept my head from going insane.
What would you say? What was it? Would you say the exercise? Do you do anything else, or was it just exercise?
It's because I wasn't very good at socializing. Like if someone come to me and said hello, I'd go and say hello and stuff. But me socializing wasn't great. I'd be in my cell by myself, or I'd be on the yard by myself, like working out. Or like I said, I had a phone my whole time, so I'd be FaceTiming my daughter. That's what I originally got my phone for. But I started getting addicted to like social media, like Instagram and stuff, and what I realized was when I was posting things on Instagram, that was me craving attention. Right. That was me because I was down and depressed thinking, someone just asked if I'm all right, or someone liked my picture, or asked Lou what's happening. I only see it that way now, but I didn't see it like that before. Because I used to do some mad things. I'd go live on Instagram after a bit of hooch, just turn into someone totally different and then thinking, Lou, you fucking dick, man. You look like a proper div now.
Yeah, this is Lewis. I'm live from the inside.
Yeah, inside.
This is the hooch special.
That's what I used to do. I was sending you requests and shout outs. Fucking yeah. Do you know what? As a kid, I used to love raves. I used to go around all the locals because we had a rave on our estate called, you probably know it, Linford Studios.
Yeah, of course.
That's my estate there.
Right. Yeah,
so I used to go around there collecting all the flyer packs outside there, outside Coliseum. I was probably about 8 years old and I used to stick them to my wall and that.
That was the thing, wasn't it? Everyone had the
Yeah, I think
the
it's
flies.
Dreamscape. That rave, I think it was.
Yeah, and we used to do Garage Nation, One Nation, but
Garage
Dreamscape,
Nation's probably one of my favourites. I love Garage Nation. All the old school garage exposures, La Cosa Nostras,
right.
Rags to Riches, all them old school ones. I used to collect tape packs from like 99. I used to collect all the tape packs. I still got majority of them, but my mum threw all my stuff away when I went jail. I
Probably
love old
worth a
school
few
garage.
quid now as well.
They probably are, but they're all missing tapes here and there now.
And then when you got through, the prison time, and you kind of getting closer to actually getting out, was you thinking, when I get out, I'm gonna go back, or did you just think I'm done?
So my first 3 months of being out, Terry, I wanted to go back to prison.
Really?
I was fucking struggling with routine.
Do you think it's because when you're in prison that amount of time, you kind of become institutionalized? It becomes your home.
I still am. I still keep calling my room my cell. But the first 3 months, my eyes were just like this. And I was thinking, this is fucking shit out here. How do people live, man? This is...
Right.
I wanted to go back to jail. I just couldn't get into a routine whatsoever. It took me a very long time. And even now, I've been out 2 years and I'm still fucking struggling. But you need a lot more support when you go out. You can't just see probation once a week or once a month. They need to give you a lot more support than that, especially for long-termers. People do little short sentences like 3 years. You're not going to learn nothing in them sentences. But for me, doing that 8.5 years, I needed a whole lot more help than what they gave me.
I mean, what? Because I know you're doing these other things now since you come out. Do you want to talk about them? Because you're writing a book. That's
writing a book. That's going to be absolutely amazing.
What's it going to be called?
I might call it like Father, Like Son.
I like that.
No, I mean, so I'm gonna have some. Yeah, that's what I think I'm gonna go for. But I've just started a new podcast with my pal Rich Jones and Frank Stedman.
Yeah.
They was also part of Banged Up.
Right, amazing.
So we've done the pilot scheme last week. It went pretty well. We're gonna do a Christmas special tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It's called the Ex-Con Chronicles on YouTube and Spotify and all them other things you can wherever it's come on. But we're still working on it, and hopefully get someone like yourself on there. That'd be absolutely amazing as well.
Yeah, well, I'm not an ex-con, but I can probably tell you some stories.
We're trying to reach out to different people. We don't even really want ex-criminals on there, unless you've got some like a crazy story to come and tell, or if you're doing something positive with your life.
I did steal a packet of football stickers once.
Yeah.
From the
Have you not been to prison before?
No.
I've
always been, but I've always been lucky in that when I was doing the events, bear in mind I did it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I lived on a council estate, so I've had plenty of tear-ups and altercations with people, but never ever had any problems where I've, been arrested.
How did you manage to go that way though?
I think when I grew up on an estate, my dad was a big drinker, and he sort of knocked my mum about, he knocked me about. They got divorced, and then I think when you're in that environment, you get angry, and then when you're at school, you get bullied, and then you go, fuck this. Then you go to the boxing club, then you start bullying the bullies.
Yeah, that's
and then
what I used to do.
And then you get to the point where there's loads of opportunities. Like I could have looked at my dad and gone, when I'm 18, I'm going to fucking get on that. But I used to see him just drinking and drinking, bottles of whiskey, bottles of beer, bottles of this, bottles of that, bottles of wine. And I used to just think he's a fucking idiot. I used to think, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Right? And I always used to walk from my estate down to the town centre. And I'd always look at the nice houses and I'd always go, I need to get off the estate. I want to be in that house.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I didn't know what I was going to do or how I was going to do it. But I've always turned right instead of left. And that's just because I don't think I could, I don't think I would be, I've always looked at people that have done crime and they've talked about it.
Yeah.
And I've always thought, what have you actually earned from it? And most of them, if they have earned good money out of it, they've lost it all because it's been confiscated, or they've wasted it all. So you go, right, okay, so you've not really got anything to show for it. You've got a criminal record. You've been at jail for 5-10 years.
Yeah.
You've not really seen your family. So for me, there was no upside. I think if I hadn't have fell into what I fell into and I hadn't had the opportunities that I had, I think I would have probably turned left at some point. Because I think if you don't have a job. But the thing is, I didn't have any criminals in my family. So my mum worked, my dad worked, my nan.
I don't have none of that.
So I didn't have any. I had criminals around me on the estate, but I always used to. I think I got arrested when I was like 12 because I was over at there was like a park on the estate.
Yeah.
And some guys had smashed, there was like a pavilion thing. Somebody had smashed one of the windows or done whatever. And I think the police come up and then obviously we all run away. And then I got picked up. And they said, right, you broke the window. I said, it's nothing to do with me. I haven't broken anything. And they said, well, you were there. So then they drove me to my mum and dad's house and said, oh, your son's, and my dad fucking give me a good hiding. And after that, I was just thinking, it's not for me. But I think you've got to be a certain type of person to want to live like that. For me, I don't want to be looking over my shoulder.
This gave me mental health problems now, Terry. I promise you, I wish I could just go a bit deeper in that and just let my thoughts come out. But it's gave me mental health problems. Like the PTSD I've got is crazy. Like you can walk down the road with me. I'm left, I'm right, I'm scanning, I'm looking. I'm looking at I don't mean to look in people's cars, and I don't like anyone who's watching now and I'm staring at in your car. I don't mean it like to.
You're not going to nick your stereo. It's okay.
I'm not going to nick your old school stereo, mate. But I just like to see who's about and that. And I've just got to get into my head. Not everyone's out to get me anymore.
But I think that's the biggest problem is as well for me is once you get into crime, and I'm not talking about silly shit. I'm talking about serious shit. There's always a chance, like what happened to your brother. Someone's going to roll up on you and shoot you. Someone's going to come in your house and shoot you. And it's for me, it's all just like, if something like that happens to me, it happens to me and I deal with it. But I'm not going to fucking bring it to my door. Do you know what I mean? Where I'm actually putting it out there. Do you know what I mean? And so many people I know who've, been in a gang or whatever and someone stabbed them, someone shot them. And you just sort of think, what? There was a guy on here the other day, a Phil, who was a Phil Allen. He was on the show as well, and he said that somebody had done something to his mate's missus, and he said, "Oh, come along to the thing. We're going to teach this guy a lesson." And he turned up with a bat, and they was just going to have to go up, and then the guy fought back, and he fucking died. And he ended up
not the fellow I was on the show with.
Yeah, Phil.
Phil. Yeah, Phil. Yeah, Phil. Yeah.
So he said, it wasn't even my fucking problem. But he said, because I went along and it got out of hand, I think the guy too hard and he's dead.
It's so easy. I was in Belmarsh with a fella. He's a big lump Turkish fella. He punched someone in the face and got a 15-year sentence. A wreck that was because he killed him.
Wow.
A lot of these murders, what happened, they're not meaning for them to die. They're just either trying to scare them away or just mark them. I don't think they want them dead.
But that is the problem with,
I lost 2 friends in the last 3 months.
Really?
One outside my mum's house a month ago, stabbed 3 times.
Wow.
And the fellow who done it we're all in the same circle.
Wow.
Jealous, trying to get his watch. But yeah, we're all mates. We're all from the same estate. He's in Belmarsh now. He's going to get a 30-year sentence. And my other pal died in Clapham Junction a few weeks ago. I've had 2 burials in the last 6 weeks.
I mean, that is fucking horrific.
And do you know how bad it sounds, Tell? Like, I didn't even shed a tear. It's just becoming so normal. If I get a phone call and I hear so-and-so said, oh, no way, what happened? It's like, oh, that's shit.
It's just like somebody saying, oh, can you get me a flat white with oat milk from Starbucks? It's just the norm. It's becoming normality.
It's just so normal and it's fucking not. It's just not. When I look back at my upbringing, I think, fucking hell. I didn't even tell you. My first ever time I got nicked by the police, I was 13 or 14 years old, and I was playing for a football team, and I got blamed for someone done the manager in the back of the head with something, and I got nicked for that. I got GBH.
Wow.
But I'm lucky enough there was a couple of witnesses who see someone else do it. So that's my first ever charge going Balham Youth Court back in like 2001 or something like that.
And if you had got nicked for that, that would have been like
I'd have been young offenders because the fella had loads of stitches in the back of the head. Don't know who done it, but manager's all right now. I've seen him a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first ever charge.
But it is crazy. But I've always when I was in the club scene, I'd always come across lots of people that were on that side of the tracks.
Yeah.
And I'd always be respectful to them, and I'd always have a laugh with them. But I think I wasn't a threat to them. I wasn't interested in doing what they were doing. I wasn't, you know, but there was a line, you know what I mean? I'm putting an event on. If you want to come to my event, behave your fucking self.
Behave yourself.
And it'd be fine. And then they were like, okay, sweet. So I'd say we probably had the least trouble at our events. I mean, we still had trouble.
Yeah.
But we probably had a lot less than most of the other
You used
people.
to take them backstage and give them a kicking after, or if there was...
People did, fall down the stairs a few times.
Backstage, yeah, it does happen. It does happen. My biggest problem when I used to go out night out, all my friends were black growing up. Me and my brothers probably the only white people in the estate.
Right.
But my biggest problem was they thinking they can take the piss out of me because I'm white. Like, they think I'm going to be some sort of pushover, and it's not going to be the case. Like, even I lost a bit of my ear, Terry.
Right.
I was in Coliseum, nightclub Coliseum. It's exposure night.
I was going to say, I hope it wasn't one of my nights.
No, it wasn't. It was an exposure night. Really good time. But
Right.
these three fellas, it's something stupid like treading on someone's shoes or trainers.
That was the thing, though, wasn't it? And then it's like, why'd you do that?
Oh yeah,
like,
so all of that started, but I'm not a very good talker. So I'm a doer. So as soon as he said so, I've just clumped him, started fighting, and I've fallen on top of him, and he's managed to bite my ear, man. I didn't even know. It's not until I got outside the club and someone said, "Lou, your ear." I said, "What?"
Because normally when someone
way.
bites your ear off, it actually hurts. Did it not hurt?
I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. The vodkas were
Strong
flowing.
that night.
So yeah, the vodkas were strong that night, and he managed to get hold of my finger as well. So that finger was hanging off. But with that situation, I know the fellow who done it, and it's a crazy story how I even found out who done it. I've let that go because it is such a petty thing. What happened, even though I've lost a bit of ear now, but I could easily go and get him back. He knows exactly who I am. So if I do something very horrible to him, he knows exactly where I live. He knows exactly who I am. So I said, you know what? I'm going to let that one go. I'm not going to let the ego get the better of me on this one. I'm going to let it go. And I've seen him since, little nod of the head. We just keep
The problem
past
is
each other.
you could spend your life just going around fucking fighting people and you know, putting yourself on offer where you could go to jail or you could seriously injure somebody.
Yeah, I feel I was just a young man with a point to prove, and really I don't have anything to prove whatsoever. It's people let the ego get the better of them.
And then when you come out of jail, what have you been focusing on now that's positive? Since you've been out, I know you said you've lost a couple of your friends.
I lost two of my friends. I've taken a big step back from my old friends. I love them to bits, don't get me wrong. Like, I wish them the best, but I've had to come away because a lot of them are still doing the same stuff. I broke it down, so I was like, you're not going to miss your families if anything happened. I've told them how I feel, taken a step back, so I just love them from a distance now. I've just been focused on being a better dad to my daughter, and I believe I could do a whole lot more for her. I wish I could, but my mental health just gets the better of me certain days. But she's going to have a good life. I promise you, I'm going to do my best I can for her. Yeah. But when up here sorted, then she's going to be sorted at the same time.
So you're writing a book.
Writing a book, doing my podcast.
You're doing a podcast, and what else are you doing?
I'm going to have a gym range out probably for next year, March.
Right.
I have a little gym range out. Just waiting for some samples to come back.
And what's that going to, because obviously you're into your fitness. So do you personal train people as well?
Yeah, I'm a personal trainer.
Right.
But like I said, I've been getting overwhelmed with things. Like, it's not like I can't get clients, but some days I wake up and be like, oh, I can't, man. I don't even want to leave my house certain days. So I don't like committing to things and not turning up.
Well, thanks for turning up today.
No, I had to turn up for you, man. I had to come and turn up for you, mate. I was well happy when we got talking. So,
but no, it's so the future for you is, like you said.
I see myself being on TV. I really do. When
we're going to put you in a movie, Lewis. So you're going to be in a movie, and you can call people a cunt. Or
I love the word. It's one of my favourite words to use. So if you give me a role, say you.
Well, it's a term of endearment from where I come from.
Yeah, what's the fellow you had on the other day? Zebedee.
Yeah,
I'm not playing
Roland.
a fucking rent boy.
No.
Yeah, I was creasing up. I watched that little bit the other day.
Roland.
Oh, he's puckery.
We've got this great guy. He's going to be a brilliant rent boy.
Oh, don't stitch me right up. Oh, that'd be so funny. No, I'd love to be part of something like that. I really do see myself being on TV. Like, I've done the thing banged up. Wish I got a little bit more airtime than I did.
Did you get anything off of that? Was you?
I got paid like for missing work and stuff.
Yeah, but I didn't know if like anything good's come out of that, you know, because you went on the show.
Not really, you know.
Right.
Not really. I wish I acted up a little bit more for the cameras, but I can't do it, Terry. I just when they approached me, there's like, we just want you to play yourself on there. I said, I'm a very quiet person in prison. I keep my nut down, and I said, I've got to have my phone. It's like, well, if that's how you do prison, so I actually sneaked my phone in my stereo, thinking they're really going to do cell searches and all of that, and they didn't. I got a few little cameo bits with Sid Owen,
right?
Because he's father.
That was Rick Hay.
Rick Hay. Yeah, so like I said, I shared a cell with him for 2 days, and I didn't know what his upbringing was like. His old man's a lifer in prison. Does armed robberies, and his brothers as well.
Yeah.
But everyone just sees him as Ricky from EastEnders. So when we got talking and got connecting, I was thinking, how did you manage to get into acting and your other side of the family all fucking criminals? And that's something to be fucking proud of, man.
Yeah.
And I said that to him as well. I've got him on like WhatsApp and that.
Yeah.
He actually messaged me about a week after the show and said, Lou, I still got your cocoa butter, mate. Can I have it, bro?
I think that show, the things that I enjoyed as a viewer, was seeing. I thought the Tractor Gate guy was funny. The MP.
Oh, I love Neil. He's pucker, isn't he?
He was funny.
Especially when he done what's that fella's name? He done him with the fucking
bed. Yeah.
Put mackerels and that all on his bed, and mackerels the worst smell in prison to get on your bed, mate. Tony Gooch.
That's it.
He done Tony, didn't he?
Yeah.
I was well proud of him for doing that.
Tony's been on this as well.
Yeah, Tony's good stuff. Yeah, he's funny as fuck, man. He was a good character. A lot of people are getting a lot of stick. Like I think Tony is one of them, and Pro Yusuf, the one with the camera.
Yeah.
But if we didn't have them two on the show show would be shit. We needed people like that to be acting up and play like bully roles and stuff. Yeah. You know?
Well, when you're in prison, I mean, it's not going to be.
I'll be honest. I wouldn't allow none of that in front of me.
Right.
You can't do that to him. While I'm standing there, we're all one. We're in there together. We're all trying to do our bird and go home. You're not bullying this kid in front of me.
Right.
So a lot of that I would not have let happen.
Right.
I'd have grabbed one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Let him know.
Yeah, I'd have grabbed one of them.
So is there Banged Up 2?
Oh, I would love them to do Banged Up 2
right.
and just mix up the celebrities again.
Yeah.
It might be hard for them to find some more ex-offenders who are... I think they went through quite a lot of us, you know. We went through 2 interviews to get on that show.
Wow.
But a woman's one would be good.
I think they're doing that now. I'm sure someone said to me the other day that they've gone from doing that to now wanting to do a woman's one. I think
a woman's one would be really good. But they had some good characters on there. I'm glad they didn't show everything. You know that there was that Tom Rosenthal from Friday Night Dinner?
Right.
He is a funny fucker. Like I think he's in Plebs as well. He used to have that bowl haircut, didn't he? He actually went on hunger strike in that show.
Because I know I was giving him some stick, weren't they?
Yeah, he went on hunger strike, and it didn't make the edit, and it was such a fucking funny moment. He's locked in his cell. He's really, really locked up, and he's like, "Look, I need some food." So I had to go and get him some tunas and noodles, but he told the officers he's not eating. But he had the most food out of all of us in the landing.
That is funny.
Yeah,
that is funny. Well, no, I've really enjoyed talking to you today, Lewis, and hearing your stories. And yeah, I mean, it's you've had a crazy life. So what you're? I mean, I know you said you're doing this PTSD stuff.
Yeah, so I'll get counselling once a week.
And have they sort of given you? Is there like some sort of timeline where they've sort of said?
Yeah, so they've gave me 8 sessions at the minute. I've done a couple different ones. I've done CBT course as well. And sometimes when I talk to them, I get a fucking ump. You know, when I bring up the past again, I was just like, I don't want to talk about it today. Where some days I'm very open to talking about it.
Right.
So I don't know if I've got some fucking personality disorder or not. But it's something I'm working towards. It's something I know I can get past.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I'm not going to let what I've done in the past affect what I'm doing now.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I'm glad that you've turned your life around, and I'm pleased that you want to get into the movie business.
Listen, we can make something happen. Yeah. I love it. Get me driving down the River Thames in a fucking speedboat.
I would definitely do that. But Lewis, thanks for coming on, mate.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, man.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Criminal Connection podcast. Lewis Clark, what a great guest and what a great story. You know, I mean, he has lived a life and he's writing a book about it. So make sure you get that. Make sure you check out his podcast, and we will see you next week where we've got another fantastic guest. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the Criminal Connection podcast with all your friends. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you press that subscribe button, or I'll send the fucking boys round.